So Ritchie, thanks for sitting down with us. I believe you joined Bristol Rovers in August. Why did you join the club, and tell us about your background as well?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good opportunity for me. It's a club that I've visited a number of times when I've been here with other clubs. I've got a friend who was a manager here for a number of years, and he spoke to me about the fan base being really special and really passionate. So I spoke to him when I joined, and he thought it was a really good fit. In terms of background, I've only actually ever worked in football, and yeah, I've been really fortunate to have that career so far. The last club I was at was Port Vale. I was there for 5 years. I was in charge of commercial there, and yeah, I had a really good time. And it was difficult to leave, but yeah, no, I'm really excited to be here, and the fans have given me a brilliant welcome since I've been here, and no, I'm looking forward to a number of years here.
And tell us about your role at the club.
Yeah, so I'm Director of Revenue, so all of the streams effectively where money's coming into the club is under my remit. So yeah, that mainly breaks down into sort of 4 areas, so sponsorship, retail, ticketing and partnerships.
And what have you found since joining the club, and what you've been working on?
Yeah, so there's a number of things really. I think the main bit was obviously sort of myself analysing the club. It's called Map and Gap, where you kind of you look and see what you think that the club needs and what have they been doing, you know, sort of over a number of years. So the first one was I noticed that we sort of leased a lot of things and rented a lot of things, which is fine. But after speaking with the board, it was something that we made a decision on where we was wanting to bring a lot of different sort of inventory pieces in house, and we actually just started buying our own assets as well. Which I think is a really good one for the club going forward, that we're sort of in charge of our own destiny almost, where you know, different containers and buildings and things of this nature that we've started purchasing it, so it's under the club. So that was one thing that I've worked on. Another thing is sort of recruitment, that we was a bit depleted in certain areas. So media and marketing in particular, I think that's quadrupled since I've been here. You know, and we're after a number of roles at the minute as well. So recruitment was sort of a big piece. Obviously, trying to consult as much as I can with the fan base, and in particular the supporters groups. So that's, you know, sort of the DSA, and speaking to the president's club that had stopped, you know, for a number of years. You know, speaking to them again, and you know, the supporters club in particular that I have sort of regular meetings with. So yeah, trying to understand the fan base as much as I can, so I can try and make it better experience really. So then obviously analysing our different contracts and agreements that we've got across sort of sponsorship and partnerships, and all the different pieces such as like ticketing and, you know, and the retail pieces. So kind of understanding where we're at, and then looking at the venue in particular, what that needs. So for example, we've put 2 really big bars under the south stand, which will be going over the next few months, kind of going over a sort of a renovation piece that we've kind of put in the working area, but now we need to smarten that up. We've had a new bar manager in, and he's done some really good work, and those sort of 2 bars are really synonymous of that. But looking across the rest of the venue as well, and where we need some extra bars and some kiosks, and then really just trying to understand the club really, and like I said, trying to add as much as I can into it.
And you mentioned your job role previously and the different avenues. Let's break it down in your plans for 2025, starting with sponsorship.
Yeah, sponsorship's a really key one for any football club. That it's a fantastic revenue stream, and I think we've got a really good product here. That we've got a number of items that you know, that we've got available, and we've got a number of items that are sold for multi-year. So it's just trying to improve on that really. We've got a number of partnerships that we're about to announce in the next sort of 3 or 4 months that are all multi-year as well, that we're really pleased with, and they're all sort of local businesses as well, which we're really proud of, and we want to work with local businesses as much as we can. And then we've got things like the big screen coming, which again is extra inventory for partnership and sponsorship. So yeah, hopefully we'll you know, get some much needed revenue into the club, which again goes back into the infrastructure of the club.
Next up, tell us about the venue.
Yeah, so I think the venue has got a number of areas under that. So hospitality, the kitchens, the kiosks and the bars, and in particular the fan zone. So the fan zone isn't up to the level that I think it should be. And I've spoke to a lot of fans, and I know fans are quite disheartened about the fan zone, which I can tell you now will change for the summer. So when we get that period of time in the summer, we will revamp the fan zone. We will revamp the area around that, so there's more space, there's more seating, and again look at the fan zone in terms of what we actually want from it. What do the fans want from it? And again, that consultation piece that Mitch spoke about in his interview is really, really key for me. So our fan zone at the minute offers nothing for children, nothing for families, which I'm telling you will change for the summer. Our community trust is fantastic, and I've spoke to Adam a number of times about what we can offer there next season for children and families, which again he's in complete agreement with myself that we need some more activities in there. So the fan zone's a really big one for me for the summer, and then making sure that our bars and kiosks are to the best level that we can across the stadium, whether that be in the Thatcher's bar behind us, or the Bristol bar, or the Buckham one, or any of the bars around the stadium. We're just trying to get as efficient as possible, trying to source the best products that we can do, have the best partnerships with suppliers we can do. So yeah, that's the venue.
And you mentioned the head of media there, Mitch Wadden. It's part of the series of interviews. He mentioned the fan advisory board. Can you tell us more about that as well?
Yeah, it's something that me and Mitch spoke about over the last couple of months, which we're really, really keen to get in place, where again we can consult with the fan base. The club here obviously will make decisions, but I want to do it with as much knowledge and as much data as we can do, but consult again with fans. So a really good example of that is the programme, where we've stopped the programme, but I'm not sure if we spoke to fans before doing that, whereas the fan advisory board gives us a really good vehicle to do that. So if we was going to make a decision and the fan advisory board thinks it's a terrible one, we obviously wouldn't do it. So again, it's just having that feedback that we're really keen to get. But again, that shouldn't deter fans that's the only vehicle to kind of feedback. The website's a really good way to do that, where there's a comment section where you can send something in and it goes through to Claire in the office, and then Claire dishes it out to the different heads of departments or myself. So there's always, I feel, ways that fans can consult with the club as much as we can, really. So that's what that was about. And
how about the plans for 2025 in retail?
Yeah, retail's a really interesting one that we're currently outsourced. I'm not sure if all fans know that, with the Terrace, which is a really good company, but actually we're taking that back in-house as of the start of next season, which means, again, a bit like all the assets that I spoke about, that our destinies in our own hands in terms of that, which means we can source our own products, and do what we want in terms of how we sell and what we buy. So retail will be a really interesting one for the summer. In particular, when I first joined, a number of fans had spoke to me about how late we have home shirts and away shirts as well, but home shirts in particular. I can tell you now that will be much earlier this season, and hopefully it'll be around sort of for Father's Day, all being well. So hopefully there'll be some really interesting bits for retail for the new season.
And finally, something you're especially passionate about, ticketing. Tell us about that for 2025.
Yeah, I think it's the thing that I think about most, and it's the thing that I've looked at most since I've come into the club. I think it's something that I have to get right. The club has to get right for the new season, which unfortunately this year I think the club got wrong, which I apologise for in terms of the pricing and in particular around families and children. So that's something that will change for the new season, and really looking at where's the best place for families and children, which in my opinion it's sort of the Brunel stand and the MKJ stand, which is the south stand for children and families, making sure that the offers around that in terms of the kiosks and bars are sort of correct for those families and children, and making sure, like I said, making sure that the pricing is correct, and again looking at you know, like if there a junior gas or a junior pirate offer, and again, you know, looking at memberships. I was quite surprised when I joined that there wasn't you know, a children's offer, which again will change for the new season. But again, with ticketing, I think there's quite a lot of other aspects to look at. You know, for example, do we do a priority point scheme? Do we have finance in place, which currently isn't? Do we have memberships, which is a bit of a bridge between match by match tickets and season tickets? So yeah, and you know, one other thing that I mentioned in the fans forum was that there'll be the physical cards will remain for next season, which was something that I changed quite quickly when I joined. So that will remain in place for the new season. So yeah, so there's quite a lot to analyse and to make sure that we get correct for the new season. Hopefully in the next 4, 5, 6 weeks that we will be releasing ticket information for next season. But yeah, the club has to get that correct. And again, I apologise for this season that it wasn't.
So overall, have you got any final thoughts for 2025?
Yeah, what I'd say to fans is, you know, keep sending in your feedback to us. You know, your comments and opinions are valued, and we do listen to you. You know, the staff are working hard in the background. Again, keep sending in your feedback. You know, we get amazing support from the fans, and myself as well. I've had a lot of support from fans and a lot of feedback where fans, you know, speak to me on match days in particular. And again, thanks for the support, and thanks for the welcome for myself personally since I've joined.